Meet David. He's the kind of guy who sets 10 goals every week and finishes none. Every night he tells himself tomorrow will be different. And every morning it's the same story again. A late start, a little scrolling. Then the guilt kicks in. David isn't lazy. He just can't start. He knows what to do. He just doesn't do it. And for the longest time he couldn't figure out why. He'd wake up late already feeling behind. His to-do list looked more like a wall of pressure than motivation. Instead of diving in, he'd grab his phone. Just 5 minutes of scrolling, he'd say. 5 minutes turned into an hour. Then 2. By the time he'd finally start the day, it was almost over. At night, he'd sit there staring at his unfinished plans, feeling angry at himself, frustrated. Why couldn't he just get started? He'd promised that tomorrow would be different, but tomorrow always felt the same. Every day felt like a battle with no clear winner. Then one morning, something changed. He woke up late again, but instead of reaching for his phone, he just sat there. In the silence, something clicked. He asked himself, what if the problem isn't motivation? What if it's how I start my day? It wasn't about laziness. He realized every time he delayed just one thing, a chain reaction followed. Waking up late, skipping breakfast, checking his phone, losing focus. Procrastination wasn't a lack of motivation. It was the discomfort of starting. So David made a decision. He decided to experiment with something simple. For the next 7 days, he'd wake up early, not for work or any goal, just to sit, to breathe, to begin his day on his own terms. David decides to try something different this time. The first day was tough. His alarm went off and his body said, "No, let's just stay in bed." But this time he decided to take action. The first technique he tried was the 10-second rule. The 10-second rule is simple. When you think about doing something before your brain can talk you out of it, you force yourself to start within 10 seconds. So as soon as his alarm went off, David jumped out of bed. He didn't give himself the chance to hesitate. His brain didn't have time to argue. It was hard at first. He felt completely out of control. But he told himself, just for today, just start and see what happens. The next day, David tried something else. He decided to test the Pomodoro technique. This technique is all about working in short bursts. You work for 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break. The Pomodoro technique allowed David to focus on just one task at a time, without the overwhelming feeling of needing to do everything at once. When he started, he told himself, just 25 minutes. And once he finished, he could rest. He realized that these short-timed sessions made the work feel more manageable. By day 3, David used the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule is all about getting started with tiny, almost effortless actions. If a task will take 2 minutes or less to do it immediately. For example, instead of worrying about cleaning his whole room, David focused on just making his bed, which only took 2 minutes. The trick was that by doing something small, he was breaking through the inertia of inaction. Once he did that, it was easier to keep going. By day 5, David realized these small techniques were helping him build momentum. He felt more in control, and even though his to-do list wasn't empty, it felt less overwhelming. David was finally understanding that procrastination wasn't about being lazy. It was about avoiding discomfort and the fear of starting. With each technique, he was learning to start before his brain could convince him to wait. By the end of the week, David realized that overcoming procrastination isn't about becoming a productivity machine. It's about mastering those first few minutes. That tiny window between thinking and doing, that's where most people fail. He learned that motivation doesn't come before you start. It comes after you begin. Waiting for the perfect time to start is like waiting forever. So now every time his mind says later, he whispers back, just start. No overthinking, no perfect timing, just start. And every time David makes that small decision to move forward, it changes everything. Because discipline isn't built overnight. It's built in those moments when you take action, even when you don't feel like it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below about the task you've always procrastinated on. Let's start taking action together. See you in the next video.